Here's something most of us never really stop to think about. You know that person who remembers a world that no longer exists? The one who played outside until the streetlights came on, but also remembers their first screen name. Who used encyclopedias for homework, but downloaded music illegally by high school. Who had a childhood without smartphones, but came of age with social media. That person did not just grow up. They lived through one of the greatest shifts in human history. So what is actually going on inside the mind of someone who grew up in the 90s? Because the answer might completely change the way you think about nostalgia itself. Here's a quick deal. If you want more content like this that breaks down real human psychology and helps you understand yourself and the people around you, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a comment saying "seen" so I know this is reaching the right people. Now let's get straight into it. Let's start with what most people get wrong. They think 90s nostalgia is just sentimentality. But that is not what is happening. Researchers call it 90s kids syndrome. You did not just grow up in the 90s. You witnessed the death of one world and the birth of another. When you look back, you are not just remembering your childhood. You are mourning an entire way of life that disappeared. Here are 4 things consistently happening inside the mind of someone who grew up in the 90s. The first is creativity born from emptiness. You played outside for hours with no screens and no Google to tell you what to do when bored. A stick became a sword. An empty lot became a battlefield. Research shows 90s kids spent an average of 3 to 4 hours outside daily. Today, less than 30 minutes. Because you could not fill boredom with a device, you developed something rare. The ability to generate meaning from nothing. The second is a split psychology. You are bilingual in a way no generation will ever be. Analog native, digital fluent. You had actual privacy growing up. When you did something embarrassing, only the people there knew. Then MySpace launched. Then Facebook. Then Instagram. And that shift split your psychology in half. You learned to perform your life for an audience at the exact age you were still figuring out who you were. The third is exhaustion from living in 2 realities. A study from the University of California found that people born in the 90s have worse mental health than any previous generation. Depression and anxiety significantly higher. You were raised with one set of values, then forced to adapt to a world that operates by completely different rules. That is not weakness. That is the cost of living in 2 incompatible worlds at once. The fourth is perspective no other generation has. You know what life felt like without constant connectivity. You understand patience because you waited for things. For songs to download. For photos to develop. For your favorite show to air. Delayed gratification was not a skill you learned, it was just life. And maybe that is the most thought-provoking insight of all. You are not nostalgic for the 90s. You are nostalgic for the feeling of being fully present, of living without performing. And that feeling is not gone. You remember it, which means you can find your way back to it. Drop a comment below. What year were you born, and what do you miss most? I read every single one. See you in the next one.